Hello, people. This is our today's chat with Joelene Botha from Oh Happy Day. And I just can say what a happy day today to have you on our chat. I really, really loved the way how you called your business because this is always when I hear it, I feel like what a happy day today. Like
Oh, thank
just let us
you.
introduce or let you introduce your business a little bit, like how you started and how you became who you are today, because you are a very established business. And in KwaZulu Natal, a lot of people know you very well for very exceptional like events.
Thank you. Thank you both so much for having me. Well, as you know, the business started, gosh, the business started in 2014, which is
Okay.
feels like forever for me. Um, and the theme of the day, or the theme of the business, got its name from the theme that my husband and I chose for our wedding. So right in the beginning of the planning process, we were both very overwhelmed. And I'm sure most brides can relate to that initial stage of feeling a little bit, firstly, amazed by this new step that we were taking, but also just completely overwhelmed with themes and suppliers and everything. And it was very easy to get distracted. So, what we decided to do back then was decide on three emotions that we wanted our day to invoke with our guests and with ourselves. And but just by accident, we just started nicknaming our wedding "Oh Happy Day." And
Oh,
then, and so we were married in June of 2014. And in December of 2014, I took the leap to start the business. And it was just a natural decision to just name it after our own wedding.
can I ask you, was it because you felt that there was something missing in KwaZulu Natal that you like were experiencing, obviously then as a bride yourself, or was it because you wanted to make something completely different, or like what? I mean, maybe also tell us what you did before so that people maybe can relate, like
Yeah.
whether it was
The,
like
the,
a really leap of faith, you just jumped
yes,
like from really like one thing into something that you didn't really know where it's gonna like lead you, but you felt just the need to do something. Just like tell us a little bit more about like how the business side of things then also started.
so basically, at the time that we were planning our wedding, I was a medical rep and I was selling HIV medication in the townships to doctors.
Okay.
So the
Wow.
two sort of job descriptions couldn't be more far removed.
Different.
Uh, we had an amazing friend who was in the industry. Her name is Jackie. Her business is called By Jackie, and she was
Yeah.
actually a really good family friend of ours. And so she was there on the day to help us with sort of like our decor decisions and things like that. But I think the one thing that's so easy to do when you're planning your wedding is to get so focused on small little things that are not actually important in the grand scheme of things, but because you're doing it yourself, they become mountains when in fact they're actually little molehills.
Mm.
And I think the main reason why I started the business was firstly because I love weddings, and I hope that that comes through in the way that we deal with our clients and the wedding planning experiences that they get to have. But it is also, sometimes it feels like a little bit of a cheat to be paid to do something that is just, we are so passionate about. And everybody who works for the business is equally as passionate about weddings as I am. But I did feel like at the time when I was a bride that there wasn't anybody who was purely dedicated just to my needs. Maybe that seems a little bit prima donna-ish, but I realized that there was a gap in the market for a very bespoke, tailored planning experience where
Mm-hmm.
you become the brides and the grooms and the couples that we meet are not merely clients, but we're in fact very good friends. And I suppose maybe me talking about my wedding day in and day out to my friends was also a little bit boring for them because some people are not in the same stage of life as you, and maybe the things that you find important at the time are not necessarily important to them. But I wish I'd had somebody that I could just talk wedding to all the time. And it's one of the things, it's one of the sort of benefits, I suppose, that our clients get to experience when they hire us, is the fact that we are 110% dedicated to all the questions that they have and all the stories they want to tell us and the funny, weird nightmare dreams that they sometimes have before the day. These are things that we actually care about. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know necessarily how other wedding planners work, but we tell our brides and grooms, we create a WhatsApp group with them the minute they sign with us, and they have us at their disposal 24/7. And it's because we
We do the
genuinely,
same. So I mean, that is like
yeah,
how we also work, because I think we believe we are like there for them, and they have to be able to reach us, and we also want to share the information like instantly with our team,
yeah,
like the two of us, or even maybe sometimes more, that we don't have, first of all, missing information in our team, as well as like in between us.
But
yeah,
also that the client feels like, whether it's 11 o'clock at night or 7 or 6 o'clock in the morning, they always like are just a text, or we are always a text away only, so
One
usually
will be up.
it's very impersonal these days to try to call someone and explain something. And these days, I mean, what is not going through WhatsApp a lot, it just can be also like handled over WhatsApp on a very short way. So I do also think that is right. And I think for the time when people sign up for a wedding planner, your service should be being someone's best friend, for the time being, and I mean, for like, you are even luckier when you like finish the wedding and you can keep those people in your circle,
Yeah.
because you have established a beautiful relationship. And I think that is actually the nice part of it. That, I mean, obviously it's a job and it's something that we do for a living, but it is also something where you can meet so many wonderful people, that doesn't finish when the job is over.
absolutely. We still have brides and grooms that message us today from like years back. So it's a wonderful relationship that's built. And the other thing I think I like about WhatsApp groups is it's not just the bride and groom that get to be on that group. In a lot of instances, we're dealing with mothers of the bride, especially in instances where the couple don't live in South Africa and they need someone from the family to be part of the group. And it's not just, yeah, I suppose you get involved in people's personal lives and their family lives, and it's actually quite sad at the end of it, once the wedding is over, to not have that like constant contact anymore. I actually get a little bit sad after every wedding, because there's so much that goes into those everyday conversations, and then yeah, it's just sad when it's over. I feel like every single wedding that we do as a company has a little part of your heart in it.
Sure. Yeah.
You are
tell,
right.
tell people, like, because I mean, we are big advocates for weddings in Africa generally, and weddings in South Africa. If you had to convince a bride from South Africa or even abroad, why KwaZulu Natal out of all the possible places in the world? Like, what is it for you, like this particular destination, where you say, you know what, if you are looking for XYZ, this is really what you can find here with us.
How much time do you have? Because this is going to take.
Don't worry, we have a lot of time. So we
I must
already
say, I
get
mean,
the night, so no problem.
okay, good. So one of the, okay, besides for the fact that I live in KZN and I understand our service providers here, and I understand how most of the venues work here, I think if I was trying to appeal to somebody from overseas, where, I know that I'm being biased here, so just forgive me. I think where KZN trumps any of the other provinces, and I feel bad saying that, because we do work in Cape Town and we do work in Joburg, but I think what KZN has that none of these other venues have is the best of everything. So if you're looking for a beach wedding, we have that. If you're looking for a mountain wedding, we have that. If you're looking for a wedding in the countryside, we have that. If you're looking for a bush safari wedding, we have that. Our climate is perfect basically the entire year round. I suppose we have a couple of rainy months from between October and November, but that's basically it. Our winters are not the death of the world. And I mean, you just have to see, we had one cold front come through here this weekend and everyone's wearing their jackets. It's probably the only time they're going to wear their jackets this year. So from a temperature perspective, it's fantastic. Our wedding suppliers that we work with are honestly world class. I cannot fault them in any way. And we literally have the best of everything. And I know that sounds biased, but I can't lie. So
it
yeah,
sounds
and
like it comes from your heart,
Yes.
and this
no,
is
it,
the,
no,
this
it
is the
does.
most
And I think,
beautiful thing.
thank you. And I think growing up in a place like Zululand, and I didn't necessarily grow up in Durban. I grew up in Zululand. Um, all of our weekends were spent visiting friends at the farm or driving to Mtimzini and spending time at the lagoon. I've grown up in nature. So for me to enjoy, we have wide open spaces that I think, I mean, Europe's amazing, but it's very rare that you can drive for 2.5 hours between Durban and
Yeah.
Machida or Shushui and see these beautiful wide open spaces. And it really just is, I'm very passionate about my province.
That's so
It would be
wonderful.
an
It's
amazing
wonderful
wedding
to
choice.
hear. Yeah,
And
no,
it's quite
you
fun,
are
I think,
a
because
great and a wonderful ambassador for KwaZulu Natal, and I love like how you with a lot of passion you explained that. Actually, this is really amazing.
thank you. I often believe that KZN gets overlooked by Europeans and Americans wanting to get married in Africa. Cape Town is generally the most popular choice, and I
Yes.
completely understand why. I think from a tourism perspective, Cape Town probably gets a lot more exposure than KwaZulu Natal would. But you just need one or two people who understand the province and know where the best places are to look. And I think KZN really does have such a diverse offering as far as weddings and celebrations go.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. And also, we just recently we launched a new platform like Weddings in Africa, because we
Mm-hmm.
also felt like there is a lack of promoting certain areas. I mean, like when you ask people from America or from Europe, they all know Cape Town, they know the winelands, but then in the most of the cases it stops. It doesn't go any further. Maybe the garden route for some Europeans is still a little bit like a name that they have heard about, like in terms of events. I'm saying this, right?
Yes,
But KwaZulu Natal or a lot of other like areas is just like blank canvas, I would say. So
yes.
we really try to like introduce different areas to international audiences.
Well, that's fantastic. If you're ever looking for an ambassador for KwaZulu Natal, please phone me.
Yes.
We
It
need
would be
some
lovely.
beautiful pictures. That is what we need. Maybe send me
Well,
some beautiful pictures of some
I
of
can
your
send
weddings,
you,
and
perfect.
that's what it is. Like even with landscape or with like African touches on, like it can be even modern. I mean, it mustn't be
Mhm.
always like game like driven, like safari
Yes.
driven. Obviously a lot of people, they go like inside the country, they look for something like that, but there's also
Hmm.
modern people, they don't really like need to go on a safari to have a beautiful wedding somewhere, maybe like Karoo or things like that. I mean, like I'm talking
Yes.
about South Africa in total,
Yes. Yes.
but yeah, I think this is our duty and our vision for Africa. Tell us a little bit, like we know it started all in 2014. So do you still remember your first wedding that you did?
I do. I do remember my first, and I think the reason why I remember it more than anything else. So the couple that we did the wedding for, first of all, when I started Oh Happy Day, it was just me. So I didn't have the teams and the amazing creatives that we have on board with us now. I think for the first couple of years, it was me on my own. And I was, for the first year of the business, I was still working my day job because I was too scared
Oh,
to take that
wow.
leap. I was too scared to take that leap initially, solo without any kind of financial sort of backing. So as for the first year of the business, I would call on all my pharmacists and all of my doctors across KZN. And then in the evenings, I would meet with my brides. And then I would obviously work weddings on the weekends. I'm very grateful to the couple that hired me initially. She was somebody that I'd known in our social circle for many years. So there was a friend factor there. She trusted me. And her fiance was quite a well-known big wave surfer in Durban called Grant Baker or Twiggy Baker. And Kate, his fiance, and I met for a cup of coffee, and she said, "Do you want to do my wedding?" And I said, "I would love to do your wedding." But the thing that I remember the most about it was that I was the bartender. I was taking the the full bags of beer cans and stuff from behind the bar to the rubbish bin. I was sweeping the dance floor when the glass broke. I was helping the bride with her dress before she walked down the aisle. There were like so many different factors. And I think one of the biggest lessons that I took away from that wedding in the beginning is that you can't be all of those things at once. So it was an amazing wedding to do because firstly, they were friends, and you never forget the people that trust you in the beginning of your business ever.
Right.
But secondly, to understand where your strengths are and to hone in on those as opposed to being the wedding planner and the cake maker and the decor person and maybe the photographer. It's too much.
I totally agree with you. I remember my first wedding, and when I look back, I close my eyes, I see this. I mean, like, I really question myself, like, why they haven't asked me to get back the money. I mean, like, it was
Don't believe
it
that,
was
Sylvia.
like I didn't even know how to judge what to. I just had the idea it must be beautiful, like flower wise. They had even a very like a team with red and white, which I didn't even like, but I wanted to make it work, you know.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that was our first wedding, but I think we all had our first like events, you know, and this is the
Yes.
learning curve, and from this it all started. And we
Yes.
don't have to be um um we don't have to like look back and regret, because I think
Yes, of
nobody
course.
has started with.
We all started somewhere.
Yeah.
Some in the living room,
All
some
those
in the
start somewhere.
garages, some with small weddings. I mean, no one has like a 200 guest wedding from the get go, you know, or big,
Yes.
huge budget weddings, luxury weddings. I mean, we all start somewhere. And I think it's also good because now that you also said you have been there, you know how it feels like to be behind the bar, to be the person on the ground, to like also understand the jobs of your suppliers much better in this way,
Yes.
so that you can actually also talk to your suppliers in a completely different way, because you understand what it is that they're actually doing and have the full scope, like there, you know.
Yes.
Just maybe in
Can I
terms,
just,
in terms, sorry,
sorry,
yeah,
Alfie, I just wanna add on to that.
yes, of
What I
course,
tell what I tell the team now is, yes, you are the wedding planner, but if you see a broken glass on the dance floor and you know that this venue doesn't come with a venue coordinator, or if you notice that one of the bathrooms has run out of toilet paper, or the lady who's in the kitchen trying to fix the cake is in need of a flat knife, like, these things are all still your responsibility. There's
yes,
no
Yeah.
at no point do we say, oh well, that's not in my job description, because
no,
actually you are responsible for all of your suppliers, and you're 100% right. Understanding how each of those different vendors work is vital to understanding the wedding as a whole. But that wedding as a whole is always going to be your responsibility. So no job is too small or too big for us as a business, ever. Yes. There's also no such thing as a bad client. Because each client that we have and every need that they have is something that makes you better. So every time you become better at what you do, you either become better at handling a difficult family member, or you get better at handling somebody's expectations. This job is about managing people's expectations first and foremost, before anything else.
Yes. Yeah, and we are service provider. So we are at service for our clients. So there cannot be anything that we are not responsible for. I think like it's exactly what you say. I cannot stay like on a statue or on a pedestal and say this is not my responsibility. We have to make it work, even if it is not our responsibility. But as you say, we have the overall responsibility for the entire event, and we have to make it work at that time. And after the wedding, maybe we can speak to service providers and say, listen, we have done that and that, which is actually not our responsibility, but please next time have an eye on that, or keep this as your responsibility. I think, but at the moment, we have to do what we see is needed to be done.
Yeah, and the client's needs come first before anybody else's. So unfortunately, if there is something that happens that a supplier is doing that you don't necessarily approve of, or that you know that the bride wouldn't necessarily want, it's your role as the planner to speak up, even if you're not liked. At the end of the day, yes, supplier relationships are important, but I think one of the reasons why our brides trust us is because they know that their needs, above our needs, above anybody else's needs, are the needs that are going to come first.
Yeah. There's just like a pop-up wedding SA, like say, thanks for the honesty, ladies. Thank you for this our happy day. Brilliant. Listen, we are happy actually that people listening to what we provide, and we hope it's informative for a lot of people. I think that's why we do that. And also we want to promote like people's businesses. We want to be a platform like for you and others to say, listen, and now maybe we come to the current situation, because like our chat was born because of the current situation. So how are you coping with the situation? And we know you have created beautiful ideas to bridge the time until we will be able to do weddings again. And I think that the amazing thing is that out of this situation, we have learned that a lot of businesses, because they had to find solutions to carry on, to gain like income, they have come up with amazing ideas, and one of them you have.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. It's still a very, very fresh idea. It's basically 2 weeks young now. But what I really wanted to do, I mean, so our Happy Day is broken down into various departments and divisions. So we have our planning team, which essentially is myself and Jess at the core of our planning team. We have our coordination team, which is a bunch of amazing, amazing women that join us before our weddings just to be able to help us coordinate the days. And then we have our floral department, which is headed up by Rowena and her staff. And it's been devastating not being able to work. We put on a brave face for everybody, and I'm putting on a brave face right now. But truth be told, and I'm sure anybody who's watching this, whether you're in the wedding industry or not, can relate to the fact that this has been an absolutely devastating time. I mean, I still wake up some mornings and I go, is this my life? Like, is this my life? Like, it's taken me, obviously, there were a lot of emotional, personal things that happened to me at the beginning of the year. And with everything else that's happened, I just sometimes wonder, like, it took me a long time to feel creative again. And for me, the creative part of what I do is the social media, the working with our brides, and sort of the admin. I found the admin side of our business so challenging at the moment, and something that but it's a challenge, but it also really interests me. Whereas I know Rowena has been battling to find like a creative outlet, and so for me, creativity is building a business and creating campaigns and talking to clients and having these webinars where we just try and inspire our brides and our service providers, and we give them hope. That's important to me. But for Ro, it's putting together these beautiful pieces of art, which is her flowers. And we'd been selling fresh flowers for a while, and I had just absolutely loved what I was seeing overseas with everlasting flower arrangements. And I think what appealed to me the most was the sustainability of the product. You're not buying fresh flowers every week for your house. You've got something beautiful to look at for hopefully a long time. And there's a creative aspect to that as well. And I'm glad that we were one of the first to offer it, because I think one of the things that I've pride ourselves on here with us at Oh Happy Day is being able to create something that other people will feel inspired by and follow on later. I mean, I'm sure we're not going to be the only ones who do it. It would be amazing if other people could come up with it. But for us, it was just being able to offer something new. And immediately I started to feel creative again and feel that I was doing something meaningful, and that Rowena was doing something meaningful. And it's hard not being able to work and do beautiful weddings.
Yeah.
Can you hear the dogs barking? Can you hear that?
But no problem. Just
We
in the
had
background.
cats in the chats. We had cats in the chats. We had dogs in the chats. We had almost everything.
Sorry, guys.
We had,
you know what?
yeah, no
I'm
problem.
actually in Zululand visiting my dad, and I'm back in the suburbs, and we don't live in a suburb where we live in Durban. So hearing the dogs down the street is something I still need to get used to. So sorry about that. But
No
yeah,
problem. Don't stress.
I think the Everlasting Flower Bar is still very new, and something that I hope people will respond to positively and enjoy. And it's just nice to be creative again and to use your amazing products.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very much. I just want to also say, Rowena, I have seen some of your arrangements. Amazing, really amazing. And what I have here already, you have even orders from other parts of the country. You deliver to Cape Town or to Joburg,
Yes.
whatever. So people are not limited to order from you in KwaZulu-Natal. So where people can actually, just let us know, like before I show you something, where people can actually order those arrangements or can even see like what you can offer.
So basically, when Rowena and I were talking about the business side of Everlast and how we were going to launch it and what we were going to do, I originally played with the idea of creating an entirely unique profile on Instagram for it, but then decided against it on the basis that our followers follow us for a reason. They like what we do. And if we present something new to them, I want the people that are following us to have access to that first. So we made the decision to keep Everlast within the Oh Happy Day banner, and just create a sales process directly on Instagram and Facebook. People can message us, ask us questions. I find it incredible how Instagram and Facebook have rallied over this time with COVID and created online shops and platforms that make it possible for business owners to be able to retail online and on social media. And we're using those platforms now for OHD Everlast. So if people are interested in our creations, they just have to click on our store, or they can click through our highlights reel to see what other creations we've made. And the aim is to just keep them coming and to create different things all the time that people will like. Maybe one or two once-off pieces that will be for sale that week that people can DM us and purchase from us online. And it's just great to see the process started. We've had such an overwhelming response, and I hope that continues.
I really hope. I cross my fingers, and I just wanted to show a couple of those things actually that you are having and what is part of your of your arrangements. Like this is, for example, one of the hydrangeas, and look at the size of the hydrangea. I mean, like even our heads are hidden.
Yes.
I just see this. We have them in many, many, many colors, and I think like
Love
purple
that.
and also beautiful, like bleached. Can you see that? Yeah, bleached penny gum. That
Yes,
all it actually will be seen in your arrangements or things
that's
like that.
right.
Beautiful dried yaris and a lot more. I just wanted to, like, because you said you are away, you have not the possibility to show one of your arrangements. I just wanted to
Yes.
show the audience a little bit what your arrangements are containing. And it's, as you said, it's not only sustainable, it's also like it is very long lasting. You can keep it for years. It's really beautiful, and I think it's very natural. It's different from a lot of people are like they compare it with silk flowers. You can't even compare it with silk
Mhm.
flowers. It has nothing to do with that. It's beautiful. It's natural, and I think particularly for young people, there is a lot of modern aspects in their homes that they want to do for decoration. And I think something
Mhm.
what you are creating is perfectly for young people, but also for old ones. But I think particularly for young people, young funky people, they need something different. That's what they actually need.
It can
Thank
also
you.
be for different aspects, for
Welcome.
restaurants, for
Yeah.
hotels, because I think, I mean, we are talking about a pandemic here still, I mean, otherwise also this business wouldn't even be on the cards right now. But I also think it has like a long-term budget effect on a lot of businesses where they may be, like hotels, they may have used fresh flowers every week, and replenish, or restaurants, they have used, like, even in a small container or a small vase on a single table, a fresh flower. This is really an alternative that can give you like much more value for any money that you are spending, and will last, I don't want to say like a lifetime, but really like it
Long,
is
yeah.
for a very, very long time,
Hello?
for years. Yes.
Yeah,
We even have
absolutely.
clients, they contacted us, they say they prepare like dried flower arrangements, and they hire this out like arches or things like that. They hire this out for upcoming events. So I think
Yes.
there is a lot of opportunity that one has with the dried flowers. And I really like that you came up with a very unique idea to support
You.
your business and to help the business actually to move on,
To bridge the
to
time. And
bridge the
Ravenna
time.
is also listening in. So
Yeah,
hello,
hello
hello,
Rowena.
Ravenna.
Hello, Rose. Yeah,
Yes,
you
and
know,
I
it's
mean, just also,
and
sorry.
I was going to say, it's just been amazing, Sylvia. We've had a number of stores contact us about wanting to do Everlast displays within the store, which I think is just so beautifully on trend that it gets me very excited. And I just love the
Yes.
idea.
And I can
You go?
just tell you, like we will have a lot of more like special things. Like just now we have partnered up with a company. They do coloring for us, only for us. So if you want to have a
Fantastic.
special color maybe or something like that, just let us know and we can customize that as well.
Thank you. I wanted to
Welcome.
say as well, besides for the dried flower bar that we started, I think one of the initiatives that I personally am very excited about with our business, and this is just for people out there who were, feeling a little bit like stumped when COVID started, because I know I was initially. I was like, oh, we can't plan weddings anymore. What are we going to do? Where is the sense of purpose? How do we stay relevant? I think the one thing that came out of my personal sort of struggle with COVID was finding a way to reach out to brides who weren't necessarily our clients, but who needed guidance in this time, because I know our brides needed guidance in this time. So if our own clients were needing support, then there were loads of other people that needed support. And maybe within like the space of like the first 3 weeks or whatever, we kind of turned the business around completely and started just helping people. And I like to think now that maybe people aren't too shy to sort of reach out to us and ask us a wedding related question, because I'm almost on my phone every day now. Whereas in the past, I'd be glued to my computer, and then we'd be working on the weekends, and then we'd be taking Mondays off, and then Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, we'd be in the office, and Fridays, we'd be back. So this time has allowed me to reach out to people who need insight or need some encouragement or need some support. Yeah. And I think the webinars, we've only done 2. We've got another one scheduled for July. But I feel like the webinars that we were offering and the number of people who found them useful, like nothing pleases me more than a bride I've never spoken to reaching out to me on Instagram and saying, I'm not going to be able to make the webinar at 4 o'clock. Is there a way that I can catch up and watch it later? I mean, it means people care, and people are finding these useful. And I think in these tough times where most of the time you do feel a little bit lost or a little bit left behind or in the dark, I think it's so important for companies to be able to just reach out and offer their services, not necessarily for free. I mean, I could never, with the logistics and the running costs of the business, I could never plan a wedding for free, for example, but just being able to offer some advice to people in need. I found that process also very worthwhile as a business owner.
Yes, and I think also in these days, it will, like how you act now, it will affect your business in the future. And I mean, like sometimes you do things just out of your feeling, like you feel you have to do it that way. And sometimes you do it out of a purpose because you know you have to do it. But I mean, we already have seen like things that what we have done, like just out of our feelings the last couple of weeks or months, or this chat is actually one of these examples. We felt a bit useless, hopeless at the beginning, as you said. And we said something we have to do for our industry, and we just didn't know what. I mean, like when you sit at home, what you can do for the industry
in a world of social distancing, where our bread and butter is like communication and like togetherness. This is really tough. And I mean, it is tough for a lot of people in our industry, not only because they have lost their direct income. It is also because all of the people who are in the business are people's people. You know, you need the contact to other people to actually feel that you are there for a reason, you know. I mean, we all do not have.
We are not introverted people. Actually, we are extroverted people. You know,
we all are not like, I mean, accountants or like, you know, like IT people that solve some problems in the living, like dark at night, or like we are
behind the screen.
Who, like, exactly, yes, like who need other people. And I think that's why also for people like us, and also creative people, because also a lot of creative people, they need this input. They need actually to speak to the bride, to the couples, and they get inspired by this process, you know. And this is all not there. And that's why I completely understand also when you understand that Ravenna and there are so many others, they just feel lost in the moment because there's nothing that drives them. There's nothing that is required from them. You just sit there and wait. And I think that is for the majority of people, like the most difficult part, to just have this uncertainty and not knowing when things like can like move on. And I mean, obviously, like with you just need to try to find something good in the bed. And if this is now something that you have found, and I think no one is saying that it's easy, and I think we all have those brave faces on, but we also all like have those sad faces on at times, you know. And I think specifically now it's okay to also say that, you know. Like, I mean, we even had that before, but no one really like was asking like about that, or we had the moments where we're like, oh my goodness, we have to juggle around 5 million things at the same time. um Let me just quickly, hide in the bathroom, breathe for 2 seconds, and
Yes,
then walk out with a smile again. So, but
yes,
this is the reality of things. So, and now, I mean, we're all thrown into this really, I mean, unprecedented moment. I think there is no cure, there is no recipe, there is no guideline, there's like
there is
nothing
no
out there
normal.
that tells you, yes,
Yeah.
this is how
Yeah.
you should deal with this. And I think everyone is dealing with this in a complete different way. And it's okay. There are some people that do not like to talk. They cannot talk
Yeah.
about the moment that we are experiencing there. Some people feel the need to talk because this is what they have been doing all the time. It's like they feel
Yeah,
like cut off from the world, because everyone needs to stay at home. And we cannot meet with, I mean, we can now slowly meet with couples, maybe again have site visits, but nobody knows
yeah,
exactly what to tell them. Maybe it
yeah.
would be interesting from my perspective, if you have prospective clients now, what do you tell them? Like, what do you tell them if you have a couple that says, you know what, Joelene, I want to get married this year, maybe even. Like, how are you giving them advice? Like, what are you telling them? Or how are you reassuring them? Or maybe what are your, maybe you have put something in your contracts, now. Maybe you have revisited like the things where you say, you know what, maybe I'm taking on the job, but I need to have this and this security to say, or you just there to help. Like, how are you handling those maybe requests from clients that say, we want to get married, we are sure to get married, what's next?
So the first thing that I want to say, when COVID first started, was that I said to the guys in the team, we're not going to be increasing our prices. If brides have to postpone their weddings till next year because of COVID, which, let's be fair, is not in our control and it's not in their control, it's unfair to make them pay things like postponement fees or admin fees or 2021 prices because their wedding falls in 2021, or forcing them to take a midweek wedding because we want to leave our weekends for 2021 open. And I think the ethos that we carried through there is a very important thing. It may not have been the business way to do things, but we're not a corporate company. People are at the heart of what we do. So that was the first level of encouragement that we wanted to tell our brides, because it's important that they know that I'm not saying that that's how things have to be done. All I'm saying is that's the decision that we as a company took for our clients who had already put their trust in us from the beginning. What we did do, however, was go back to our legal team and ask our lawyer to draw up a COVID-friendly service level agreement, which essentially would not have covered things like this initially, but are now things that we need to think about. So, hypothetically speaking, we send you a quote this year for your flowers on the basis that this year we knew what the flowers would cost. We knew what the cost would be to import them. We knew what it would cost to put those together. We knew that we had access to them. Next year, we don't know where we're going to be. You guys might have more information on this for us later, but we don't know what the cost of importing is going to be,
Yes.
or the cost to get it here, or whether we're even going to have availability of certain flowers. So again, it goes back to what I said earlier about needing to manage clients' expectations. So the new service level agreement covers things like not knowing. We're basically saying we want to do your flowers as per the discussion, but there's a chance that that might not happen. And that's something that we both need to acknowledge. In the same way that we as a business are not charging you extra to move your wedding, or whatever. I think managing expectations is a big thing. We've always had a sliding scale cancellation policy in place for our clients, but in the light of COVID and them possibly needing to cancel their wedding, we needed to put something in there that makes them understand that if you have to cancel your wedding because of COVID, but we've planned it all the way through and you've only paid a booking fee, that's still a year's work that we've already carried out that somehow needs to
Yes.
be honored.
Yeah.
But the service level agreement that we have in place for our clients was drawn up by one of the lecturers at one of the Durban universities here. He specializes in the Consumer Protection Act, and we wanted a service level contract that protected the bride more than us. So for us, there's no such thing as a non-refundable deposit. We put a booking fee on as the first invoice because we know that should their client need to get their money back, sorry about that. I understand if I was somebody that needed to cancel a wedding, I would also expect a part of my money back. But it needs to be friendly for both sides. And I think that's what our service level agreement does. But the other thing that we put in place for our clients is not necessarily only having one date. So a lot of brides will message me and ask me this question: do you think it's too early to plan my wedding for this month or that month? The reality is I'm not an expert and I can't say yes for certain. But what we can do, and what we do always offer our clients, is a backup plan. Whether it's a backup plan for rain or whether it's a backup plan for COVID, it's always important to have a plan B and sometimes even a plan C or D in place, which is what we've been working on with our current clients currently.
Okay. I think that's important. And I think also, none of us has a crystal ball in front of us as service providers. I think we're all trying to do the level best as we can.
Yes.
Like to help our couples to still like achieve this dream day, no matter like what situation there is, whether there is a pandemic or no pandemic, whether there's rain or sunshine. I think that is, I mean, in our heart, because otherwise we wouldn't do what we are doing. And I think also everything comes down to communication and
absolutely, like I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, just telling the brides, you know what, we might not be like in the position right now to tell you exactly you can get married on the 12th of December, but we can try to work towards it and see once we have like more information about regulations and all of this, maybe we need to postpone, maybe we need to change like the date, the venue, whatever. I think it is also about trust. Once you have the trust of your clients, they will walk with you because they know you will walk with them. And this is the beauty of our business.
Yeah, let me just
I think at the end of the day, as I've said before, like our clients are our main responsibilities and our main priorities. And sometimes they don't realize that before we've even spoken to them about the potential of a postponement, we've already contacted all the service providers that we booked beforehand to find out one or two possible dates that they can then choose from. Because I also understand that at the moment, making any kind of wedding related choice is a very emotional one. It's emotional on its own, but then throw something like COVID into the mix. It's very hard for you to accept something that you'd had your heart set on that particular date or that particular venue or that particular supplier for a reason. And now all of a sudden you need to think about potentially moving this. And it's hard to put what you want and what has to happen in the same sort of process. So for us, a plan B and sometimes a plan C is important. And our brides and grooms will know how to make that decision when they're ready. But it's good for us to be able to have those choices available to them for when they're ready to make that decision. Again, Wonderful. It boils down to managing expectations and understanding how this whole thing works. And you're right, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know for sure whether weddings this year will take place or not. But the best that we can do is just manage the situation as best we can.
Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think that is also what is very important for the client, that they trust you and they see that you are working for them. And there is, in a lot of cases, like there is still a little bit like a different understanding when couples sometimes they think you work for your own pocket. No, we work for them. And obviously we have to earn money, but we work in first line for them, for their needs, for their event. But let me also say one more thing about you scratched the surface about a little bit about the flowers. First of all, I can totally understand, Rowena, because like we had our first shipment last week arriving from Holland after COVID with beautiful peonies. And I can tell you that the freight charges were out of this world
I can
high.
imagine.
It was,
I can
but
only
we
imagine. It's
decided.
actually, I must just quick, if I can just interject there. I got a
Of
costing
course.
for a business flight to Johannesburg last week. It was 5,000 rand. I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, it used
Yeah,
to be 900 rand like 3 months ago. So I can
yeah,
only imagine, Sylvia, what those
yeah,
costs are actually escalating to
yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. And we have about between 3 to 4 times higher like freight rates at the moment than we are used to have like end of March or before COVID.
Mm.
So it is like almost like ridiculous. But however, we decided we need peonies. We just need peonies. We need a little bit of happiness, and we need a happy day.
Yes.
Oh, happy
Yay,
day.
you need a happy day.
So we decided against all odds, we bring in these peonies and we will try to make it work somehow, even if we are not making money on this. This is happiness poor, and everybody needs a little bit of that. So this having these peonies, just like being around these flowers again, I can tell you that gave me a spirit like it's unbelievable. So
Yeah,
it brought me back to life. I think I can really say that, like having flowers like in my kitchen, and I go out in the morning there and I see these peonies. I look, I smell. This is
how beautiful.
this is so beautiful, and I think this is what we need, and everybody has its
Yeah,
own like little, like one needs flowers, another one needs a plant, the other one needs like whatever, we all have to have something that is drawing us out of the darkness that we are actually in. And I think because we are so much different, like everyone has its own little secret how to move on or how to overcome a bad day. But I think flowers all over makes like the most of the people happy. I actually
I
don't know
love
anyone
flowers,
that.
Sylvia.
Yeah.
There,
So
there really
that's
is
why
nothing better than seeing a beautiful bowl of flowers next to your bed or waking up.
that's true.
I mean, yeah, Rowena has the best part of the job, I suppose, going to the flower market every Wednesday or whenever she goes, because it really must be just such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
In
also
fact, I
right
think that's
now in
probably
the
my favorite part of the wedding is on the Friday. We like to take our clients at about, in most cases, I know Durban venues or KZN venues are very different to sort of Joburg and Cape Town, but in most instances, we get the venue like 2 days before the wedding to be able to set up.
Wow.
I know we're very
Perfect.
fortunate. Another reason why KZN is a great wedding venue
Yeah.
option.
yes.
Um, but we like to sort of take a few minutes out with the bride and groom on the Friday before the wedding and be able to see their faces when they arrive and they look into the reception and they see like this beautifully decked space and it's just flowers and that scent and just I think for Ro and I to be able to see their faces. I mean, 9 times out of 10 the bride will cry. We've had one or two grooms cry as well. And it's just such an emotional thing. And I think that's the power of flowers,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Agree. I mean,
Very
this is,
special.
to be honest, like we always say, and I don't want to like say it literally, but the moment when we see our couples walk into the room that is decorated,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
value of this
It's
is
priceless.
worth more than any money in the world.
It's
Like
priceless.
this is
absolutely. I couldn't agree with
like
you
this is
more.
it has no price tag, because when you see the emotions that are like that are there, and the excitement and the wonder and like everything that they have talked about, dreamed of. And I mean, we're talking about weddings, so there are ladies who have a dream
Yes,
since they are sometimes very young,
yes.
that comes true in
It's
this
very
very
special.
moment.
Yeah.
And it's so special, and this is, I get goosebumps just when I just say this, but this is the most beautiful like thing that we can do as creatives also, like again on the flower and decor side, and like Rowena and all the likes that are there, and all
Yes,
those like amazing people who make those special dreams come true for brides
yes,
and for couples. I mean, without them, there would be no beautiful image of a beautifully
Yeah.
decorated reception, no beautiful ceremony arch, no beautiful like bridal bouquet. I mean, we as
Yeah.
planners, and I'm now saying that like we, because I'm just the planner. I'm not into
Yes.
the flower side, but
Yes.
we are just a piece of the puzzle. We obviously like hold all the strings together and like make it
Yes.
work, but without all the little pieces we would be nothing at all, because we need
Mm.
all of those individuals to make a beautiful day even more oh happy.
Yes, agreed. There's two actually two favorite moments for me in the on the wedding weekend. The one is when the bride and groom get to see their wedding venue for the first time. But then I think the second one, and regretfully I wish Ro and the flower team were there to see it as well, because it's mainly the planners and the coordinators that get to see it. But the second favorite part for me is seeing the groom's face when he sees his
Yes.
bride walk down the aisle. Like,
Yeah.
as a
Yes.
planner, I don't,
Yeah.
it's weird. I don't look at anybody else. I just look at him.
Yes.
Strange, hey? But it's
It's
just,
no, I mean,
and you
this
see
is
the
this is
emotion on his face, and
yeah.
sometimes in most cases they cry. It's amazing, isn't it?
Even
Yes.
the coolest guy, sometimes
I
they are so
know.
tough, so
They lose
cool,
it.
like that doesn't matter what age, but even though when they see their bride, like they melt like butter.
Yeah,
And
it's
this is the
beautiful.
beautiful thing about love. I mean, this is what love is all about, or should be. That this
It's
reunion
making
of
me
those
miss my
people.
job talking about it like this.
Yes,
It will come again, it will come again, don't worry.
yes,
It
It is not,
will, it
but
will.
what I'm
And you know
always
what?
saying
For
is,
all of our sakes, I hope it comes this year. But I'm not holding my breath. It probably won't. What I do hope to see this year, though, is I actually had a bride message me completely out of the blue last week. She'd watched one of our webinars and she messaged to say, I know you're busy, but is there any chance that you can spare like 30 minutes just to talk to me? I've had to move my wedding date twice and I just need somebody to tell me what to do. And they were pondering on the idea of whether they just get married in church this year with their families, their parents, or whatever, small, less than 10, or whether they wait until next year. And I said to her, the thing is, there's absolutely no right or wrong way of doing it this year, which is kind of
yeah,
cool in a way.
yeah,
And then we ended the chat, and I said to her, this might be the year that you become a wife, but next year you will become a bride. You're just doing it the other way
oh,
around. And
that's
it's
so
such a nice way
beautiful.
of thinking about it, because I do
yeah,
believe that brides need that moment to feel like a bride. And for those that are getting married quietly this year in their back gardens, at home affairs, at their officiant's offices, focus on being a wife, because next year you will still get to become that bride that you've always dreamed of. Most cases, girls dream about their weddings, and I know I did. Um, and that's just such a nice way of looking at it, because it almost prolongs the
Yeah,
process too. It
and
also
look,
puts into place what's the most important, and that is the marriage.
exactly, exactly. And what I just wanted to add, there is a lot of like couples that we know, in particular, let's say couples for destination weddings, maybe couples they come here to South Africa as a mixed couple, maybe one South African, one like international part of the couple,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them decide maybe they are not going to go through the whole process in South Africa to get the registered marriage, but because it's so difficult and long process,
Yes.
and they just sign somewhere in the countries maybe where they live, or go to Bali, or I don't know where it's quite easy, the Seychelles, to sign the documents, being like husband and wife, and have their wedding. And in the most of the cases, when we ask them, what
Mm.
is your wedding day, they tell us the day when they celebrate, not the day when they
Mm.
sign, the
Yeah.
day when they actually celebrate. This is what they feel is their wedding day, no matter what other day they actually have signed the document.
Yeah.
And I think if a lot of brides and grooms maybe will look that way, that will be a very happy time for them to have actually
Mm.
two little celebrations, and like one little one and one big one. They have actually
Mm.
two then.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's actually quite cool that you get to do it twice.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
exactly.
did
So
it
now
twice.
this is actually
We got married twice, guys. So my husband Steph and I got married
Yes.
in a place called the Old Fort Chapel in Durban. It's this tiny, tiny, tiny little church. I think it can maybe take like 10 people. It would actually be perfect
okay.
now if anyone is planning their wedding for during these times. But and
Yeah.
inside, so it was actually the same chapel that my mom and dad got married in. And it was also the same chapel that I was blessed in as a baby. And the
Wow.
date that we chose to get married there was the same date as Steph's parents' wedding anniversary. So we had,
Oh,
for
wow.
that celebration, just with our family, was a merge between my history and my family's history and Steph's history. So, and then like 4 days later, we got married with all of our friends. I think we had about 160 or 180 people. And so for us, we kind of get to celebrate our wedding day twice, because every year we'll have dinner with his parents on our wedding anniversary, because it is the legal day. And then like a couple of days later, it's our other anniversary. So we get the best of both worlds.
That's
So then
amazing.
we can call it Oh Happy Days.
Yeah, it's not
There we
only
go.
one oh happy day,
Two.
it's oh
Oh, happy
happy days.
days.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Truly.
Shame.
Thank you so, so much for your
You are
time.
so
And
welcome.
I think
Can
I
you
hope,
imagine? We have talked 1 hour already. Can you imagine this? This time was flying, isn't it?
Well, thank
it's
you guys for having me. It's been
amazing.
such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you also, I think, for an inspirational story. I hope what people take away is, first of all, whenever you are maybe unhappy in the job that you are doing, you may find another way to follow your passion. And the second
Absolutely.
thing is, if you are in a difficult moment in time, you also may have the option to just find the good and the bad. Maybe something that you never thought about, like what happened. And I think as a planner, thinking about flowers, I mean, it's part of the job, but it's not a priority in the sense of that is a separate business. So I hope that inspires other people also from different walks of life and from different industries to maybe see in this moment in time what they can do, what they can add to their business, to obviously bridge the time until we are all in a better space. So we are very happy that you and Rowena, have like formed this
Thank you for
partnership.
having me.
And I think partnership
Welcome.
also, like as a second thing, is very important
Yeah.
Yes.
in this time that we are in. And I mean generally, but networking and really also reaching out hands and speaking
And
to people from the
collaborating.
industry and
Yes.
collaboration is something that will carry you through the really tough and hard times.
Yeah.
So I think well done, and we wish you
Thank
like
you.
all the best of like the both things, the wedding and the flower world. And so whenever like anyone
Thank
is
you.
interested in your everlasting flowers, they must go to
Oh Happy Day.
Oh Happy Day, right?
And there was
Yes,
a
so the
lady here that
Everlast is available on a highlights reel. It's got all of our products there. But we've also created an online shop on Instagram where we've got our 4 main signature designs that are ready to be sold. And then Rowena's going to be creating these amazing one-off pieces as the weeks go by. And as your flowers and your dyed flowers come through for us, we're going to be creating these signature pieces that people can then just buy once off. But yeah, so if anybody's
wonderful.
interested, they can just look on our online store on Instagram and Facebook, and have a look at our stories highlights reel as well for more information. But thank you
Wonderful.
both so much for your time. It's been so lovely chatting to you. And I do hope that the people that have watched today, whether they're a service provider that's just looking for a little bit of a push, or just to know that they're not alone in the process, and that there are people out
Yeah.
there that are struggling regardless of what kind of industry that they're in. I hope that this was an opportunity for you to just know that you're not alone. And the same for brides.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you very
That's
much.
great.
Just let me
Thank you,
finally say there was
ladies.
a lady, her name is Kelsey, And if she is a private person, she can reach out to you and get your flower arrangement. If
Yes.
she is a florist, she can also reach out to us, to Yes Exclusive Flowers on our Instagram, and she can contact us for that.
Yes.
Otherwise, any arrangements. So we don't do arrangements. We only provide the flowers. So any arrangements, if anyone want, please, oh, happy day, make your day.
Exactly.
Perfect. Cool.
Take
Thanks,
care, Joelene.
guys.
Thank you so much
Lots
for
of
your
love.
time.
Thank you so much. Bye bye, and
Bye-bye.
bye bye to the team.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.